All right, thank you all for coming. So I chose the country North Korea to do the speech on because it's pretty interesting. They're pretty evil. So the population is 25 million, and it's made up of mainly Koreans, but also there's a small portion of Japanese and also Chinese there. So North Korea wants to cut themselves off from everyone. They're really isolated, they're very secretive, and they don't like what the Western world has done. The religion there is, they don't really have one, but they worship their leader. Like there's a bunch of pictures and all that sorts of stuff all over the country. For work, they always wear a jumpsuit, and it's usually one color. For just formal attire, like parties and visiting relatives, they wear dresses and loose-fitting jackets. So it's a communist state, and there are 687 seats in the Supreme People's Assembly, but that doesn't really matter because it doesn't have very much power. The dictator Kim Jong-un really makes every decision there. There's one party, and it's called the Korean Workers' Party, and they elect one person to run every year, so they run unopposed. It's considered corrupt, North Korea is, and the currency is counterfeited. Human rights violations and mismanagement of resources are all reasons. North Korea practices collective punishment, which is where if one family member defects, that means that the entire family gets punished. North Korea ranks the families. They have like a list of all the families, and they rank them levels 1 through 50, and 50 is where you want to be because the higher you are on the levels, the more benefits you get, like education, jobs, healthcare, and you get to live in Pyongyang. Greetings when you meet someone are handshakes and bowing. The common phrase is peace be upon you. The men often hold hands when they're walking. It shows a sign of friendship. When you meet someone, it's pretty rare because arranged social visits are pretty infrequent. When you visit someone, the guest is usually supposed to bring a gift to the host. And families in North Korea are kind of weird. They don't really eat together that often because the dads leave early and then come back late at night. And the moms are often also at work, so the kids are kind of left with their grandparents a lot. So out of the 25 million people in North Korea, about half of them live in rural areas because it's very agricultural. You have to apply to the government for housing, and so if you can either live on your own, or what most people do is they live with their parents until they get married and have kids. The marriage age for men is typically, you have to be a minimum of 27 years old and then a minimum of 25 for women. And then they have children within a year usually after being married. And then for marriages, it's usually an all-day affair. You would get married in the morning and then eat at a local restaurant and celebrate that way. And then you would also go on a landmark tour around the country and pose for pictures in front of the statues of Kim Jong-un. So when a kid is 14, he would join a communist youth group. That's really to start developing loyalty towards the country. The diet consists of a lot of spicy foods, spicy cabbage and spicy vegetables, and there's also soup and fish. The diet is different from South Korea because they don't have the same wealth. The South has a lot more meats than the North. Sports in North Korea there's really only a couple. It's soccer, volleyball, table tennis, and basketball. Soccer is the national sport, but volleyball is the more popular sport. So the balls are kind of expensive, so usually a group of people would own just one ball, and they'd all share it. So when you're elderly and retired. The grandparents take care of the kids, but the grandmas would take care of the kids, and the grandpas would play cards, smoke, fish. And then when they would catch the fish, they would not bring them home. They would put them over a fire right then and eat them. Every worker in North Korea gets 2 weeks vacation, but the farmers usually can't take their vacations because they can't leave their crops. So you'd have to apply for a permit when you want to go on vacation, if you want to leave the city. There's not a lot of international travel out of North Korea unless you're doing it for business. The holidays in North Korea are New Year's Day, birthdays of the leaders, May Day, Victory Day, Liberation Day, Independence Day, Workers' Party Day, and Constitution Day. And by celebrating this, they do barbecue and drinks, and they play sports, sing, dance, and have family time. Communication in North Korea is also, there's not a lot of it. There's a subway in Pyongyang. There's not a lot of cars, so most people would just bike. It just says that girls aren't allowed to bike, but it's not really enforced. Also, there's very little internet in North Korea. It's hard to access. It's censored a lot. But there's one big database for universities, and it just has educational information on it. And then there's an 11-year education program. It's free, and it says that there's no illiteracy in North Korea. So school days would be from 8 to 1 p.m. and they would go to that, and then after school they go to clubs. And if you're really good at your club, then you'd start studying it, and that would be what your career is. North Korea has a lot of malnutrition, and diseases are spreading, and hospitals aren't supplied for it. And so, in summary, North Korea is corrupt and a terrible country. It's not a great place to live. So. Zoom in, turn it on.